Welcome to Cinema 5D on the Couch, the talk show with filmmakers and industry leaders. Brought to you by G Technology, Rode Microphones, Movidium, Film Convert, and FNV.
So, Lawrence, what kind of technology excited you most over the past 2 years, let's say?
Well, I mean, I've been using a C300 a lot, and I love the camera. It's such a dynamic range, and it's nice and small, and it's perfect for my documentary stuff. But I'm looking into the FS7. It looks very exciting. Managed to put it on my shoulder a couple of days ago, and the specs look awesome. The price looks awesome. 4K on board. It's pretty exciding.
It's a very nice camera.
I've heard it's going to be coming out for about 8,000 euros or something along those lines. Yeah, something along those lines. So yeah, it's probably people are saying already it's a C300 killer.
On specs, it looks like it, and it's supposed to have the same sensor as the F5, so half price.
Impressive.
For that.
Yeah.
But isn't it funny? I mean, all these camera stabilization rigs and everything came about because the camera's gotten smaller, and now all the big manufacturers want us to buy bigger cameras again.
That's right.
I mean, like 5 years ago, we were shooting with smaller cameras that most of us are doing now. I mean, there's still DSLRs and all these, mirrorless new cameras, which are great, like the Sony A7S and all these. But still, I mean, on the professional side, if we talk about professional connectors, these cameras are getting bigger again. I mean, we have the FS7 isn't large, but it's larger than the C300. Then we have the Ursa camera. What do you think of that?
I like it, actually. You have to see what you get for the price. I mean, what they did is basically they took their 4K technology and put it into a breakout box with a monitor attached. That's my opinion, and put a PLL mount on it. Yeah. But it's under 5,000. Come on, guys. I mean, that's sensational.
Yeah. But it's a heavy beast.
Blackmagic really creates wonderful,
amazing
pictures. Very cinematic, very beautiful. And you can really use it. It's big, but again, it's the tools.
Why do you need a huge screen built into a camera?
I don't know. I know that's make it. I mean, it's a bit. It looks a bit awkward. It is. I mean, but you see a lot. I mean, I don't need it. I mean, I work with like this 5-inch thing from Red, but if it's on board, I mean. That's $5,000 you pay for the monitor alone on other companies, right?
To me personally, it's like a show-off camera. There is no reason to use this camera on any shoot, and I can't think of one. It's the same camera as a Blackmagic 4K. It's the same sensor.
It's the same. That's right. That's right. But you have everything you need when you buy the 4K. You have to rig it up with all this stuff to work professionally, I guess. And I like bigger cameras. I don't know. It's my background probably, but I always had these problems with the DSLRs. They're just for me, like it's still cameras, I have a Canon still camera, and film cameras are bigger. I don't know for what reason. It's just I like to have the weight, It's like
that's why they did it, no doubt. They want that market segment. Maybe
I guess
they didn't maybe not getting, or if they just want to cover it all.
I believe the Ursa has phantom power mic.
It has, it has all the stuff
one
on board
advantage
that you need.
I was really annoyed when I bought my Blackmagic, thinking I could just hook up a mic to it, and it didn't work.
Yeah, and internal batteries and that kind of crap.
Yeah,
that's really. I mean,
having to add all the extra rig stuff is a little bit.
You have, and then the price goes up as well, right? So you might as well buy the Ursa then.
The question is, I mean, now it looks like some segments and some companies are trying to make us go back to these big cameras. Is that just their last try, basically, to get us into buying these cameras? Because if you look at the A7S and some other cameras, and even the Blackmagic Pocket and some others, there's so much in such a small body, or a GH4, where you're thinking, why do you need to carry around the whole thing? I mean, you can always make something bigger if you need it, but you can't make it smaller.
Right.
I think it's basically, I mean, if you talk to clients, about a professional production that has a certain price, and you come with a pocket, which makes an excellent picture.
They're like, I have one of those too.
They go like, what the hell am I paying that much money for? So that is probably one of the reasons. The other is connectivity, I guess, because you have to rig up all the smaller cameras. Other than that, it's just a matter of taste. I mean, I don't know. That really depends. For example, the commercial industry, if you come with the DSLR, I think they go like here, because they spent an insane amount of money just to show off in front of clients. There is in Germany, I think the average on a 30-second commercial is 230,000 euros.
Wow.
Still, yes, a friend of mine does that in Hamburg, and he goes, it's just to show off. They have people running around. I was on set. I could have done that with 7 people. They have like 35. It's ridiculous. For what? It's just because the client is there. They all need their extra monitor and blah, 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 blah.
But I think that's the exception. I mean, like a lot of the advertising industry has been really under a lot of pressure price-wise. And I know that a lot of commercials, when I started out, when I did an internship at a big production company for commercials, those were the exact shoots that I was on. And I couldn't believe how money was wasted in such a useless fashion.
It's just to keep them happy.
Yeah, even though it's a big camera, it's still cheaper now. So it's
but
actually
I think that
not
will be
like
at some point people would realize, and now you already have agencies picking up cameras themselves, shooting themselves. Obviously, very often not having the skill, but then they employ producers, film producers sometimes, that do have the skill, which kind of makes it hard for some film productions to get into this market. Yeah. On the other hand, we have a lot of lower-end productions now, which probably wouldn't have done any video before, and now because it's affordable, they do it. But in terms of cameras, I think I don't understand why a lot of these traditional camera manufacturers and still make cameras in a shoebox size. Because the reason for that was the tape. You needed that space, the mechanics of it, and everything. And Sony has been very slow in their professional division to actually change the shape of their camera. Yeah. If you even look at the F5, F55, it still has this shape. It's a little bit smaller, but it still has that shape. And that's one of the reasons why I agree with you, Lawrence. C300 for me was one of those cameras which just works. It looks a bit awkward. First time I saw it when it came out almost 3 years ago.
It's like this odd shape, right?
It looks very strange, but it works very, very well. You can turn the monitor in every direction. The monitor is really good. You have exactly 50 megabit, exactly what the broadcasters want. And now we have a lot of broadcasters actually asking for cinematic quality, but they don't want to deal with 200 megabit footage. So it filled that niche perfectly. And then Sony released more box cameras, and that's and I work with these for documentaries as well, but it's sometimes difficult to understand why I can't get this shot with that camera because it's too big, and it's really relevant for documentary, I think.
I think with what you call a shoebox size, I think it's basically sales and marketing. Yeah, because people think like that camera really looks like professional. Right. Because as I said, if you show up on a set for a professional shoot and the client is paying for it, he wants to see something. And I don't know, to tell you the truth, I mean, I do have clients from which I think where we put off, the dolly and the crane and some lighting. Remember what Rodney told us back then, about the lighting guys and stuff, that he may not need that much, So it's probably that. I'm not sure. And it's of course, they always every half year they come up with new camera models. Because they want to make sales. And what Sony dreamt about years ago is to get something again like Betacam SP, because the whole world used it, because they could sell these expensive repairs for the video heads, like 6,000 per machine. It was insane. Then digital Betacam came and they tried the same. They were successful with that, but then so many things came out and they had to find new niche. I don't know.
What do you guys think about the 4K hype? Like, is it a hype or is it necessary?
I'm never asked to produce in 4K, but it can be nice for recropping, that kind of thing. If you're shooting in 4K, you go into HD. When you're finalizing, it's kind of nice to be able to reframe maybe.
Yeah. Even though it's cheating. But
what's next?
Yeah,
what's 8K, next? 8K, right? They projected that a few years ago, didn't they?
I have a nice HD flat screen in my living room, and I can't imagine having to needing to have 4K.
I think it's not that. I think the resizing is really good. If you when you work in for documentary, it's cropping great because you have with the Avalanche show that we did, we had 3 cameras and 2 GoPros, and when that thing goes off, it goes off, and you have to have it, and then we could resize really nicely. Right. Other than that, I mean, most of the program is still in 1080. I think eventually that would change because the manufacturers try to get their Ultra HD televisions out. Even
you really think
content? That's what
really
they try.
Think that the broadcasters will ever catch on?
Not that far. But people will buy the stuff anyway because it's cool. Because 3D was cool before.
The early adopters.
UHD.
But 3D is the exact example for that. The consumers didn't need it; they didn't want it.
That's true.
So that's the question. Will the same? Because HD was an easier sell because the difference between SD and HD is clearly visible on a larger TV. But TVs can only be so big.
And the TVs are crap. They really are crap. If you go into markets, they have the Ultra HD. They look like shit.
And plasma's gone now.
They really ruin every picture with all that kinds of computer stuff that's going on. There's no motion blur anymore. The color depth is not there. It looks terrible. It's not all about the resolution. But what we experience right now is we work with a couple of different stock footage companies, and they are more and more into 4 and 5K because they think they can sell it better to commercial agencies and stuff like that, even though it's going to be broadcasted not even in half full HD.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's all about making money, I guess.
Has the resolution hype had any influence on your business in a way that, with stabilizers, you're obviously with 4K, it's possible to stabilize footage afterwards better. Yeah. Some people say, I don't need a stabilizer anymore. I can just run around with my camera and do it and use a warp stabilizer afterwards because I have all this resolution to play with. Have you noticed any of that?
Not really. I mean, it's always good for us when any new camera hype comes out. I mean, we just need camera. If there's never a new camera, then there's people aren't excited about buying a camera, maybe buying a glide cam to go with it. So we need new cameras. But I haven't had any negative where someone's doing it in the computer in the end and then trying to get rid of glide cam or steady cam. Maybe once again it's because the market is expanding globally. I mean, there's a lot of countries that never had the cash or the ability to buy all this stuff, and now they are, and they're all putting stuff on the internet. Artists are popping up everywhere with their own voice, so that's probably what helps.
So which markets do you see are emerging in terms of where your sales go?
I mean, for us, China's our biggest market probably because they're affluent 200 million people with money, and they're looking to buy not Chinese stuff. They want to buy Porsche. They want to buy, Vocal skis. They want to buy glide cam or steady cam. They don't want to buy the Chinese stuff. Because, like all of us, when you have the money, you want that brand to show off, I guess. But we've had like 300% growth in China in the last year or two. So it's not a huge market for us yet because it's still a population that is not, maybe as well knowledge. We haven't done trade shows in China. I mean, we probably should. If we were crazy to grow that market, we'd be in the shows, but we haven't yet. We have some great dealers there, though, to do it. So
what kind of camera do they put on those systems?
I mean, they have everything over there.
Are they They are into 4K and stuff like that, right? Or is it just Japan? I don't know.
I would say China's less into 4K, but I mean, they're using a lot of little GoPros and DSLRs and stuff too. So that seems to where the market really is these days. For us, in the world, is the affordable DSLR or other small cameras that are in the $2,000 range.
Interesting.
It's probably similar to like how Apple's going more along the routes of selling apps to like consumers and prosumers. It's going the same with the camera. I mean, you can probably make more profit selling lots and lots of small cameras rather than maybe less big cameras. So maybe that's also
absolutely.
Absolutely. That's also, I mean, because you mentioned Apple, new iPhone 6 does 240 frames per second.
Yeah.
So
my wife
just got one.
Just got delivered to the office.
So is the new iPhone? That a lot of people are like, oh man, slow motion used to be something really special, and now even every iPhone will have it.
It's true.
The question is, will it be
frightening? Sometimes it's frightening, but it's always the guy behind the camera, I guess, who does the films and not the equipment. So but the client has to understand that too, and that is the difficult part, I guess.
But that goes back to your argument that sometimes you have to impress client, but on the other hand, all these technology is really empowering. That's so you have people who don't have the money, but they have the talent. And they are able to produce images that just haven't been there before.
Yeah, there's an iPhone film festival where everything is submitted a shot of an iPhone.
They shot this Bentley commercial on an iPhone, entirely on an iPhone. That's
I thought it would affect the pros more, but it doesn't seem to have.
No, if you're skilled and you're good at what you do.
There's still consumers that have all this stuff available, but it's not like they're not going to show up with an iPhone to shoot a pro job.
Yeah,
as
but
you
it's
said,
it's that more and more people with talent come into this industry easier because they can prove their talent with cheaper tools.
It's like you were saying too. The story is important. I mean, I was asked to do what do you call these 6-second clip things? What do you call those? The things you do on the iPhone. A vine, yeah.
A vine, okay.
And we had to come up with 6-second ideas, and we wrote scripts for it. It was fun, and we had to shoot it on an iPhone. It was good fun. We had good actors and nice settings.
It's also, I guess, I mean, all these, because you mentioned Vine, there's a guy who earns a lot of money doing Vines.
Oh yeah, I saw him while I was researching Vines. Yeah.
And I heard he declined an offer from a big bank. He would have given him $50,000 to produce a 6-second video. He said no, because he earns over $1 million a year with his YouTube and Vine stuff.
Oh my God.
That's the kind of money that is being made today on YouTube by these guys that are doing viral stuff.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It's impressive. And they get a lot of work from it.
And the crazier it is, the better, the more hits they get, right?
Yeah.
People on YouTube are not interested that much in quality stuff.
Right, they're just interested in being wowed and happiness.
Yeah.
Happiness videos, you know, people just having fun.
And look into
life
in other people's lives.
Although there is an emergent market for workshops for those YouTubers now, because they are aware that they can improve in picture quality. And I get people asking for workshops that have YouTube channels now, which is quite interesting.
Actually, I get asked by quite a few people, how can I make my blog look better, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Let's go back to the camera size question, because funny thing, you mentioned that sometimes you need to impress client. I know that as well, with big stuff. But you're a Red guy, a Red owner, a Red fan, I would say. I like the camera look as well. Sometimes they had reliability issues, of course. But didn't Red announce a few years ago that they were going to do this, only the brain, basically, this very, very small part, which is actually just a sensor, and you could add those different parts over time. Did they go away from that concept? Because they originally wanted to do smaller cameras.
That's probably true. I mean, when the Epic came out, because I was an early adopter with the Red One, I was offered this Epic X package, and they had these modules, and we got all these modules. And for example, if I'm in a studio situation or in a controlled environment, I go with a quad battery module and the Red mode attached and the side end. The big gear. But for example, when I'm on a helicopter, like I did a lot on that show about avalanche snowboards, it was just a side handle. It was a 17-50 zoom lens and a little monitor. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, it's big. It's like a Hasselblad, more or less. That's probably what you can compare it with, like a mid-size Hasselblad.
Yeah, if you strip it down, it's kind of...
Yeah. And that works fine. I mean, you have about 30 minutes of running time with a little Red Wall battery. And I think that's pretty good. If you start attaching things, of course, it's not that small anymore. But it's, of course, bigger than a DSLR is. I don't know if they really had the goal of getting smaller than the brain is right now. I don't know. I mean, if you go with an EF mount and put in a Canon lens or something, it's really lightweight.
I'm guessing it's cooling issues. I mean, you've probably experienced your DSLR getting too hot, quite often, especially when you're shooting in hot environments. Sometimes I get the temperature warning, and so I'm guessing that Red put in a better cooling system.
Probably. I don't know about the original specs, actually. I don't know.
I mean, in general, I think cameras will get smaller, obviously. I mean, we have the GH4 now, which can record 4K internally, and is used for all those drone shots a lot because of the high resolution.
Right.
And but heat is an issue. But once that's resolved, I think there's no reason to have really, really small, large sensor cameras anymore. All right, guys. I think we should wrap it up. Thanks for being our guest here on Cinema 5D on the Couch. This was another show of Cinema 5D on the Couch, and we thank our sponsors, G Technology, Rode Microphones, Movidium.com, Film Convert, and FNV. And we'll see you on one of our next shows of On the Couch. Thanks for watching.